Alright, for this little lesson, we're working on pre-distance formula skills. It's basically just kind of building out and reminding you, things like numbers and things like that. Because we're going to be getting distance formula, which requires calculating things, in particular these sort of things that you see on your assignment. So let's start at the beginning. The beginning, calculate stuff, and make sure you don't mess up. You just gotta remember, if you have two of the same number being multiplied together, that's like that number squared. And a negative times a negative is a positive number. And so this answer right here comes out to be positive 36. Positive. Make sure it's positive. If you get a negative at this point, you did something wrong. Next section, same sort of thing. You're calculating, but it's got an extra step in it. In particular, it's got things inside here, and then you square it. That's what the little 2 means. You gotta take what's inside here, simplify it, and then times it by itself. Don't forget that when you subtract a negative, it's the same thing as adding positive. Double negative makes it positive. And so this really comes out to be negative 2 plus 1, which is negative 1. And if you square negative 1, that's the same thing as negative 1 times negative 1. And negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Positive. And so this one's just 1. When you get down to the next section, it gives you a little formula, kind of like those ones we've been looking at, but you're going to take some numbers and plug it in. This one's going to look awfully similar to the last one. The x number goes where x is, and the z number goes where z is. And so I'm going to rewrite this little expression here, but with the numbers inserted. Negative 2 minus negative 1. Remember, there was a negative, and you're plugging in a negative. So yes, it is going to be a double negative. Don't forget about it. You're also going to square it at the end. And just like the one we had done previously, the double negative, same thing as adding positive. So negative 2 plus 1 gives you negative 1. And you need to square that. And negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1 again. Next section. These ones, you're going to have to pull out your old Pythagorean theorems. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. The c number is the hypotenuse, which is the longest side of the triangle. The a and b are just the two non-longest sides of the triangle. So we're going to use this formula and plug things in. We're trying to get this number c. And so I'm going to say 8 is a, and I'm going to say 12 is b. And so I'm going to take my formula and plug things in. 8 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. Well, I need to square these numbers. You're going to get 64 and 144. 144 equals c squared. You're going to add those two guys up. You may want to use a calculator. That gives you 208 equals c squared. And I am fine if you use your calculator to finish this up. You need to square root both sides. And that'll give you c equaling the square root of 208, which you can just plug in your calculator, and I'm fine with that. Just get the approximate value of, I'm actually going to change this instead of equals, I'm going to do approximately, 14.42, and you just stop, round to the second decimal place, and you're good to go. And so that's how you do the triangle parts. These two numbers are a and b. You'll plug them in. Use your Pythagorean theorem to get the last side of the hypotenuse length. And at the end there, you finally get to where we use distance formula. So this is actually what the next lesson is all about getting distance formula, which is the distance between 2 points. Here are 2 lovely points, and the distance formula works like this. You got x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Let me translate this for you. These are the y values. They go where the y values are in our formula. The 8 and 6 are x values. They go where the x's are in our formula. So I'm going to take this formula, kind of like I did on the 2 sections ago. I'm going to plug in the x's. We have 8 and 6. So 8 minus 6. Square that. You're going to add the y's subtracted. Negative 1 minus negative 1. Remember, you're subtracting, and if it's already negative, you're going to have to subtract negative, and that's okay. 8 minus 6 is 2, so we're going to have 2 squared. And then negative 1 minus negative 1 is negative 1 plus 1, which is 0. So that's 0 squared. we're now going to get 2 squared, which is 4, and 0 squared, which is, well, 0. 4 plus 0 is 4, and the square root of 4 is 2, and so that one is done. You plug it in, and you check it out. Okay, you may want to use a calculator on some of these. Go ahead and do that. The ends.